all things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, the jury has sent a note to the judge asking for Michael Cohen's testimony about the Trump Tower meeting that they had. I'm guessing the one in 2015 when Cohen and David Pecker and Donald Trump all crafted this deal with the National Enquirer to catch and kill any negative stories on Donald Trump since he has decided to run for president. I think that's probably the meeting they're referring to. And they also would like David Pecker's testimony on his decision to not fund Karen McDougal's story. That doesn't sound right to me. Maybe that's what they asked for. But, the National Enquirer did catch and kill. They essentially gave Karen McDougal, who they never denied that Trump had an affair with her. That never came up, according to any of the transcripts that I was able to see. That Karen McDougal was given a sort of no-show job. How do you put it? When they hire you to do a thing and then you never have to do the thing. So they hired her to write some health column or some such column. And she never, ever was asked to, publish anything or produce any of the work. She was just paid. So I don't know what they mean Pecker's testimony on decision not to fund McDougal's story rights. I don't know how that, because we didn't see the trial. So I don't even know, right? I know that David Pecker refused to fund the paying of Stormy Daniels, saying we're not a bank about the National Enquirer. I remember hearing that. But I don't know. So that's what so here's a little detail for you. This is, I think, important if you care about, like moving about freely, the greatest city in the world. Which each and every juror is from. Like, not born there, but they all live there. Everybody that is on this jury is a Manhattanite. But they're not allowed to leave, obviously. And neither is Donald Trump. Neither is the judge. He ordered everyone to remain in the building, I guess, until the end of the day when he dismisses them and says, okay, tomorrow's another day. Like Scarlett O'Hara, I'll think about it tomorrow. I don't know. I honestly do not know how this is going to work. But I know that when he was reading the jury instructions, because those I have, one of them was you must remain in the building. So that's creepy. Okay, so I found my paper. I don't know why I put it on this side of me. See, this side is all a mess. You see that? So usually I put things over here when I want to locate them easily so that it looks effortless on your part and you think it's just she has the easiest job in the world is what you'll think. Okay, it's like ice skating. Make it look easy. Okay, so juror number one is a man. He's a sales guy. He was a waiter in a previous incarnation of his work life. He has some college education, married, no children, gets news from New York Times, Daily Mail. That's a little upsetting. Fox News and MSNBC. Okay, so that's all you get to know about them. Juror number two, he's the one that invoked seeing Donald Trump's postings on Truth Social via Twitter. Okay, he is a married man. Works in investment banking. I did get that right. Yay. He has an MBA in finance. He described himself as someone who reads basically everything, right? Because he said if anything moves the markets, it's his job to know. Okay. And he said he doesn't hold any strong beliefs or opinions about anything. He sounds fascinating. When can we go out to dinner?
I got to be honest, him being forthcoming about his exposure to Truth Social actually encourages me a little bit. I feel like somebody who's trying to be a little more clandestine about it maybe wouldn't be so forthcoming about Truth Social. So that actually makes me feel a little better.
Okay. And he follows the news and sees Trump's social posts via Twitter. Trump's Truth Social posts via Twitter. He told the court that he hasn't read any of Trump's books, but he has seen quotes from The Art of the Deal. I mean, how could you be a finance guy and not have any strong beliefs about anything? And not have opinions about anything? I don't think that's possible. Honestly, I do not. I think you probably have positions on taxes. I think if you're in finance and you have an MBA in finance, I think you feel very, very strongly, as does Schwarzman and all the other dupes, okay, Jamie Dimon, all those people who, after January 6th, renounced. I do renounce him. They all renounced Satan. They all renounced Donald Trump after January 6th. I do renounce him, yes. And now they're all back in the fold. And, the reason why they're all back in the fold, they're like, taxes, man. We want those tax cuts to continue. And we got a feeling that, the only thing Trump ever did will be the only thing he ever does in a second term. We think he's really lazy. And so we want him because we think we'll get the tax extension, which means, just so we know, us ordinary unwashed masses know, that means that he would put another $2 trillion on the tab. And, running up the debt and the deficit has an inflationary impact, and giving out $2 trillion, even to billionaires, has an inflationary impact. So we'll end up paying more. They'll end up paying less. And, of course, then they'll go after Social Security and Medicare. Biden's idea is no one's taxes, no one who makes under $400,000 a year gets any tax increase at all. And people over $400,000 a year may be asked to pay more towards their FICA taxes, more towards Medicare, more towards Social Security, because as we learned the hard way, people who make over $160,000 a year aren't taxed any longer to pay into the Medicare, Medicaid trust fund or to Social Security. Okay. Anyway, I don't know how he could be without an opinion on anything. Like I said, he sounds fascinating. We really need to go on a date. Juror number 3. He is in his late 20s, early 30s. He's from the West Coast. He is a corporate lawyer, I'm guessing, because he said he works in corporate law and that he gets his news from the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Google. Juror 4, he's also from the West Coast. He's a security engineer, some college education, married with children. He's not on social media. He once served on a criminal jury in the past. He couldn't remember the verdict. See, I like that guy. When asked if he had any concerns about rendering a guilty verdict, he said no. Juror number 5 is a young woman. She says she has friends with strong opinions about Donald Trump, but that she's not political and she avoids the news. That sounds normal. Unfortunately, sadly, like that breaks my heart to hear it, to read it, to know it. It's just too much for me. But she thinks Trump is very honest. Okay, this could be a problem too. She says she appreciates his candor. Because he speaks, this is her quote, he speaks his mind, and I'd rather that than someone who's in office who you don't know what they're thinking. Oh, beautiful. If anybody, I think she's the dilemma that's plaguing all of us right now. She's the one that's saying, oh my God, what happens if he's not convicted? The Biden administration said that if he is convicted, it's just going to be business as usual. They're even debating whether or not they refer to him as the convicted felon. I'm like, why wouldn't you? That's a title you have to actually be given. That's a title you have to compete for with 12 people. That's a title you have to earn. Why wouldn't you? Well, we don't want it to seem political. Are you freaking kidding me? He has had every senator, every House member, every freedom cracker, Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton was auditioning for Attorney General. He was at this trial. They all made it a political mantle that they were going to hold on to and do push-ups on or something. Really, but we're debating whether or not if he's convicted. I want to debate what happens if he's not convicted, because that's what scares me. Juror number 5.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself.
Right.
He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city, it's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that. Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. but no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course. But around the country, people who didn't know him as we did started to support him. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises. He got the most religious evangelicals to applaud a sinner who bragged about sexual assault, and who, just a couple of blocks from here, a jury found him liable for sexual abuse. Somehow, he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution, and on January 6th, rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed.
Yes, that's exactly it. And he won't do it himself either. Donald Trump is, very busy telling people to do it at his behest, okay? This is the crazy part. I mean, didn't Donald Trump tell everybody that he knew all the best people, that he only hires the best people? And so now he's trying to offload Michael Cohen by saying Michael Cohen is the world's greatest liar. Yes, but he worked for you. You hired him. And he worked for you for 10 years. This is what people, this is what you have to hope the jury understands. This is what you have to hope the jury can put together in their plan, forward. That they can understand that, Donald Trump always, I only hire the best people, blah, blah, blah. And literally a guy who his defense attorney called the greatest liar of all time worked for Donald Trump for 10 years doing the dirty work that Donald Trump won't do. Because Donald Trump won't get his hands dirty. Donald Trump doesn't throw a punch. Donald Trump's probably never been punched. I think the only person Donald Trump ever bitch slapped was his own son. And that's about it. I don't think he's ever, done anything that he wanted to be done to a person himself. He's ordered it done to other people, like January 6th, etc. And, and the ignorance. I mean, just, okay, I don't know. I don't know if juror number 5 understands all this. I really don't. Juror number 6, she's interesting. She works in tech. She said she also has no strong feelings about Trump. She pledged to be fair and impartial. Not married, no children. Gets her news from TikTok, New York Times, Google, Facebook. I think it's almost required that you say, if you're a New Yorker, that you read the New York Times. I think it's part of our DNA. Because each and every one of these people, first thing where do you get your news? New York Times. And then they list Truth Social or TikTok or Twitter or, Facebook. So I worry about her too. Okay, juror number 7, that's a man. He's late middle age. He's a civil litigator. So he's the other attorney. Married with children. Never served on a jury. Gets his news from a variety of outlets. The New York Times. The Wall Street Journal, the New York Post. That's worrisome, okay? And the Washington Post. And he listens to podcasts. I don't know which ones. Not really sure which ones he does. But there's a lot of podcast listening going on with these jurors. A lot, which is nice. You like to think you're doing something that people enjoy, the podcast, But they didn't ask him which podcast. It could, for all I know, it could be Steve Bannon on Rumble. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know. You just don't. Number 8. Has a strong opinion about Trump. Juror number 8 is a retired wealth manager who is married with children. He's a man. He has strong opinions about Donald Trump. When he was asked if he had strong opinions about Donald Trump, he paused, and then he said yes. The judge followed up and asked, could you be fair and impartial? He said he could. It's another possibility. Okay, so 5, 6, 8, 9. Woman told the court she believed she could fully follow the judge's instructions, was not well versed in legal proceedings, lives alone, does not follow news, originally from Jersey. That I believe. I think she probably hangs out at the Paramus Mall. Okay, juror number 10, a man works in e-commerce, doesn't really watch the news, doesn't check the news. If you're in e-commerce, you're online all day. Listens to podcasts. He says he's very interested in behavioral psychology. It's kind of a hobby of his. I don't know. I mean, it could be Dr. Lala. It could be, her screaming and yelling at people, that she would disown you. You would never be invited to her house. And don't you ever, ever wear perfume in my limousine because, I'm allergic to it, whatever, right? And then her son, becomes a criminal. Or it could be Dr. Phil. I mean, you just don't know. It could be Oprah. Juror number 11 is a woman who said she did not follow the news. Oh, my God. But did watch late night comedy shows. That's good, right? She's from California, never rallied for or against Donald Trump. One of her close friends was convicted of financial fraud, she said. And juror number 12 is a woman who works as a physical therapist. She lived in a few states before coming to New York, reads major news outlets, and listens to podcasts about sports and faith. It's an interesting combo. So there's your jury. I don't, I mean, listen, you're supposed to have, 12 impartial people. I think we have 9 impartial people.
The one that watches late night comedy, that's
a good thing.
That's a good thing because MAGA's not funny. So I know she's not getting indoctrinated there.
Yeah, but I do have some concerns about 3 of them. But, I just can't imagine that this case was not fully formed and fully prosecuted and fully proven. I really do think, and like I said, barring some extraordinary thing that went wrong, and the only thing that I think went wrong was with the defense witness, Robert Costello, who was there to apparently, validate that Donald Trump didn't know anything about nothing, and that, he never. And the whole thing backfired. The whole thing backfired because he connected Donald Trump to the documents. I mean, it was just such a... So, anyway, the jury just rang the buzzer again. They have more questions. See, this is why no one can leave the courthouse. They're just going to... I don't know what the... they want a reread of some testimony. Me too. Do the whole thing. Because I didn't get to hear it. But yeah, so listen. Now we wait. This is our lot in life. This is like I don't know. It's like being 9 months and 12 days pregnant. You know what I mean? It's like any minute, it's time. Like they rang the buzzer, but they didn't want to say that they were ready. They want a reread of testimony. I just saw they rang the buzzer. I'm like. But maybe it's just me. Maybe I should just, do what all these jurors do, pay no attention to the news, none whatsoever. Just forget about it. Just go through life like a butterfly. You know what I mean? Just go through life, just going from plant to plant, looking for nectar, hoping for the best, not even checking the weather, nothing. I swear, it's a way to live. It is. And I'm wondering, Who's the idiot here? Is it me or is it juror number 5? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. None of these people seem to, watch the news. They barely know who the president of the United States was for, the last 4 years. I don't know.
Ignorance is bliss.
That's what they say. And the meek shall inherit the earth. So why be so, lioness-like? Like, why fight the good fight? Why would you when... There's nothing in it for you, pal. There's nothing in it. But anyway, so the first and most important jury instruction I thought was don't be intimidated, like by that clown in the orange makeup and any of his minions who are all felons. All of them. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.